On this episode of Northwest Outdoors, how do wildlife photographers get those great shots? Get some tips from pro James Jones.
In wildlife photography, nature photography, there's what I call a prime time for everything. You know, whether it be filming the flowers of Mount Rainier, which would be second or third week of August, or filming the elk rut, which would be the latter part of September, first part of October.
And the rainbow trout fishing is great at Bull Hill Ranch in Part 2 from northeastern Washington.
Break you off.
Fish on, we got two going at the same time, Pete. Now, how could fly fishing get any better than that out of a small boat like this? This one's got a lot of head shake to him, and I have not seen him. Not seen him. He looks to be 14. Him over here. He wants to lay up right there on the surface for us. Now I'm going to slide him right up to you. He'll be real easy to work with.
Funding for Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon, makers of precision tools and cutlery. Kershaw Knives strongly supports outdoor programming as well as responsible outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. And by Subaru, engineered and designed for all types of activities in the great outdoors. Subaru believes that enjoyment of the Pacific Northwest should be available to everyone. And by Energy Northwest, providing electricity for the Pacific Northwest today and for our future. You too can help provide electricity for our future by reducing your use of electricity today. Remember, conserve whenever possible. And by Alltrek.com. Alltrek provides high-performance clothing and gear for every outdoor experience, including paddling, camping, hiking, climbing, and more. Information can be found online at Alltrek.com.
On the last show, Northwest Outdoors was in northeastern Washington State at a dude ranch. Clean mountain air, panoramic views of Lake Roosevelt, mixed with activities like horseback riding and fishing, made this a relaxing getaway from the modern world. Bull Hill Ranch sits just north of Spokane. This family-oriented working cattle ranch, nestled among the tall pine and cedar trees, stretches over 100,000 acres of land. Cattle drives, day rides, fishing, and just plain relaxing are what make up the Dude Ranch lifestyle. After moving a small herd of cattle to another pasture and then a scenic horseback ride, co-owner Pete Guillemino took out Northwest Outdoors fishing host Hobart Mans to dip a line. We now join Hobart and Pete on Ansaldo Lake for more fly fishing for Bull Hill rainbows.
You obviously have puckered in on a good one here, Pete.
Still coming at us. He hasn't seen the boat yet.
No. But he did jump on that bug. He went after it. Now, those trout have been growing for a couple of years compared to the last time we looked at them.
I don't think this is too big a one yet. Probably 14.
14, 15?
Yeah.
Got a nice small head, big body.
Yeah.
He's coming in right there in the side where he belongs. Beautiful rainbow. And he's got some color too. He's gorgeous. I got your rod.
Yeah, he's got a lot
He's
of color.
gorgeous. Nice, chunky 14, 15-inch fish. Beautiful. There he is. That's the way to release him. One flip or two, huh? Something was working up there.
Yeah, I seen that.
Bull Hill actually operates 2 different lakes for fly fishing. On both lakes, catch and release is practiced, and no motors are allowed.
Were trout natural in here, or is it something that you've planted and started?
We've had to stock the trout in here. It would the winters would always have trouble with the winter kill before. There was never any natural fish in here. Some little tiny scrap fish, but never any trout. We stocked it the first time thinking we didn't need an aeration system because of the depth, but as it turned out, we lost that whole crop of fish, and since put an aeration system in, and now we've never had trouble with the winter kills since then.
So what you're doing in reality is making the lake year-round livable,
Oh yeah.
and you've got enough food value in the lake to supply growth, because there are some dandy fine fish in here.
Right. We've never fed the fish at all in the lake, and they do well, exceptionally well now once we have the aeration system.
You were telling us earlier in the day that you actually have fish in here now that are approaching some 10, 12 pounds?
Yeah, this spring, we've had the fish that our fishermen have caught have ranged from that 8, 12-inch fish up to, I think the largest caught this year was 33 inches, and they guesstimated him to weigh probably around 11, 12 pounds.
33 inches, 11, 12 pounds.
Yeah.
That's way too big for this old mandolin. Way too big.
The average fish we catch in here in a day, though, they're going to average in that 15 to 22 inches, and actually it's that 18-inch fish. He's a lot of times the most fun to catch because they'll jump, they come out of the water. Beautiful young trout. In great shape, you can see from that. That's about a 16-incher, 15-incher. Got one right there. Oh, that's a good fish, too.
I thought there was some big ones right there just a minute ago. He's looking good. Oh, yes! Got a sore spot on it?
Yeah.
Tore off part of his back.
Huh. Kind of an ugly fish, Rick. I'm not even going to show you.
Yeah, fish are aggressive. They'll take just about any kind of a fly. And that one is particularly strong and beautiful. These fish are really crazy. Now that's the way I like to release them. 3 feet in the air.
Hobart has the touch on
That's the way to release them. I don't want to bring them up here to the boat where I can hurt them. I just want to feel them, look at them, and then say goodbye. Pete, that's a little different woolly bugger. I know it's a woolly bugger, but it's different. I've never seen quite that color combination. What do you call that?
We call it, there might be different terms for it, but we call it an electric woolly. It's got the bead head and the tinsel in it, and it seems to be a real popular fly for the fish on a sinking line here. When they're on this, they're on it sometimes every cast. This time of day, though, when the sun's getting a little higher, you can see that there's not much activity on the lake right now. You definitely need to go to a sinking line, or at least a sink tip. But earlier in the morning, later in the evenings, when the hatches come off, it's phenomenal. Also, later in the fall, like October, mid-October, late October, it can be great dry fly fishing all day long. Some of the best dry fly fishing we've had here has actually been in October.
And Mother Nature works in there too, Pete. That local osprey you see, the shade and light values on the water early in the morning and late in the afternoon, he can't see those fish near the surface. And in the midday, when those fish show up really good with the sunlight straight up, those fish are going to go deeper for just a natural protection basis on what they have here. So
You bet.
almost any of the fish that or any lake body of water you go to, you can go, whether it's kokanee and you're looking at fish being at 35 feet deep early in the morning. As that light comes up straight overhead, they'll drop down from 15 to 30 feet more just to get away from the light. food value, thermocline, all kinds of things happen to force those fish back down where it's safe and comfortable.
Let him go.
Oh, yes. Oofta. This fish is a little crazy. And a little crazy is right. He hit that thing smoking. Smoking. And he's still smoking.
Beautiful. You get him on the reel.
Why? This is more fun. I don't want to do that. You make me look like a real fly fisherman if I get him on the reel. I like this strip and line business. Oh, yes.
That's a beautiful fish.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Uh-oh. He's got shoulders, too. Shoulders. That fish has got... Oh, my. This is serious fish. Serious fish here. Ooh, yes. He just chowed down on that bug. He really did. You had me change to that little olive, something with a little more olive and
Kind
lighter
of
brown
another
to it.
electric
Yeah.
woolly, only on a light olive color.
And since I put that on, the fish have really been after it. That fish is a good solid 20, 21, 22 inches. He is smoking. This is not going to be. He gets up here and sees that boat. He's going to want to go away. Want to go away. Every time we get him up here, even semi-close, he's a brute. Oh, yes. He took off like a freight train. Now, come on, calm down so we can work with you here. Work with me, big fella. We'll let you go here. I'm going to try and lead him back where you can get to him. Maybe we can pick him up for just a half a second. I'd really like to see how big he's going to be.
It's probably a good 3 pounds.
He'll probably just nip your old fingers there when you get him out of the water.
Oh, that's a gorgeous fish, Omar.
Yeah. It's a beauty.
It's at least, what do you say, 20?
22.
21, 22?
Yeah.
Very thick. Very
And
small
probably
fish.
3.5 pounds, maybe a little more. Can't be any better than that. Can't be. Beautiful,
I think so.
beautiful place out here. The reeds, the setting, the location, and the fishery are all combining to make the time we're spending with you up here more than commendable, because you can't find fishing like this anyplace.
The scenic canvas of northeastern Washington state. Visiting a cowboy dude ranch can provide many memories as well as photographic opportunities. The remoteness of Bull Hill makes it a great place to view wildlife, from hummingbirds to trophy-sized elk. Meet James Jones. He makes a living photographing the residents of the outdoors. He comes here a couple times a year to record wildlife on the ranch. Sometimes the preparation is half the challenge.
Jim, you've got a lot of neat equipment set up here, and it looks like you're ready to take a picture of something. Explain to me what you got.
Well, Hobart, to start out with here, I have multiple flashes, and what I'm hoping to do here is stop the hummingbird's wing beat, and by doing that, I will strobe that with these flashes. The reason I have so many is that I need to light up this whole area here. The hummingbird will come in here, feed, and as it backs out, that's the picture that I want. So this flash here will eliminate the front end of the hummingbird. This one here will come in from the front shoulder. This will eliminate the lower part coming in from the belly up on the hummingbird. And this one will come in from the hind quarter to the front. So I'll eliminate this whole area here, and they will all go off at the same time from the shutter release of my camera here. Now what I have is an 80 to 200, so I could zoom in and compose the picture as I wanted. I could change the vertical, I could shoot horizontals. I will do both actually. This will be a nice vertical here for me, and it also will be a nice horizontal. Again, I'm shooting a 250 shutter sync. and then the flashes have slaves on them, so they will all fire at the same time. I've determined what my exposure is out here when the flashes do go off, so everything is set up now, and I'll just sit and wait for the hummingbird to come in. And again, I don't want the shot where the hummingbird is buried in behind the flower. I want the shot as it goes in, feeds, backs away, take the shot like that again.
Jim, you've been coming up to Bull Hill, they tell me, for about 25 years, and one of your favorite places to take pictures. Is there a reason for that?
Well, yes, there's a large variety of different wildlife up here. I've filmed black bear, I've filmed white-tailed deer. I was up earlier this year, got some great turkey shots. Today I'll do some hummingbirds. And Saldo Lake, which is only half a mile from the lodge here, offers me the opportunity to film osprey, wood ducks, Canadian geese, pied grebe, ruddy ducks. So again, and it's a beautiful place. I get some nice sunsets here. We've seen some elk this morning. So it's a place where I can come spend some time and have a large variety of different wildlife to film. Yeah.
With a little patience and a lot of diversity, it makes it basically a one-stop shopping center.
There you go, there you go, yeah. As you can see, wildlife photography takes a lot of patience. Good, this is the female rufous here.
Jim, how do you know where to go and what time of the year to go? Is it acquired, or you study it, or how did you get all this information in one place?
Over the years, Hobart, I've discovered that in wildlife photography, nature photography, there's what I call a prime time for everything. You know, whether it be filming the flowers of Mount Rainier, which would be second or third week of August, or filming the elk rut, which would be the latter part of September, first part of October. It's very important that you realize that, again, that there is a prime time. If you wanted to get the elk rut and you thought that you could plan it on the calendar, look ahead and say, well, I'm going to take a trip to the end of October, it's too late. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss the opportunity to get the elk buting and the elk fighting. Same with the deer rut. With the humpback whales up in Juneau, I found the best time to go up there would be the latter part of June on into the middle of July. So again, it's very, very important, whatever your subject matter is that you want to film, you need to research and try and figure out what is prime time. And again, I was filming the nesting ducks and geese April and May. At the end of May, they all start going through a molt. So to get the best colors of the birds would be filming them during the breeding season. So again, all these things are things that I've learned over the years, basically spending a lot of time in the woods, in the fields, researching, and just a lot of experience of being out there filming for 21 years now.
Do you have one single tip that you'd pass on to the average photographer like me that I could use to enhance my work?
Well, you probably should learn your equipment. You know, you really need to. If you're going to be a scenic photographer, you need different lenses than if you're going to be a wildlife photographer. So you need to understand your equipment. You need to understand exposure, and then again, you need to really understand your subject matter that you want to film. One other thing that amateurs probably don't realize and think as much about is using a tripod. As you can see here, I have my 80 to 200, which is a small lens. Most people would hand hold that, but in order to get really sharp pictures, you still need to use a tripod. So as I walk along this marsh area here looking for different types of waterfowl, I'm ready to go. My camera's turned on. I got the exposure set. I have the sun where I want it, so I know what the exposure is going to be. So now as I go along here, if I find something to film, I just drop my tripod, focus, and I'm firing away, but I'm going to get a sharp picture because I'm on a tripod. So we'll kind of continue through here a little bit more quietly and see what we can find. The key to coming out and trying to film any type of wildlife. I always call it there's a prime time. To do the baby geese, I like to film them the end of May, first part of June, and we're in here now mid-June. So these geese, these little baby geese here are a little larger than I usually like to film, but I like the composition here. I like the natural habitat. I like the family being together here, and the light's very nice. Also here on the lake, we'll be able to film baby goldeneye. I've seen some pied grebes with their young. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to get shots of them riding on the back of the mother. So again, it's very important to understand that you wait another 2 weeks and all these young will be gone. Plus the adults are going to start molting just any day now, and that's something I'm not looking for either. Another frequent question is lens choices. Obviously, you can see that I'm using a very large lens. It's a 600 f4. F4 allows me to gather a lot of light, which then I can use a faster shutter speed. Again, I need to use a lens like this to fill the frame with the subject matter. Again, most people have a 70 to 210, 80 to 200. That's not going to be enough lens for me to come out on this lake and compose pictures with the subject matter taking up a majority part of the frame. So if a person can, you really want at least a 400 and possibly buy a 1.4 converter with that 400, and that will give you a more telephoto opportunity to fill the frame with the subject matter.
After a day of fishing or horseback riding, the gathering place is the ranch's cookhouse, where the smells of barbecue on the deck is always a favorite.
Chris, what are we having for dinner this evening?
Country-style ribs.
Country-style ribs. Now, in order to get them to the place where you've got them on the grill, what did you do?
We put them in the oven and baked them for 3-4 hours.
And you've added any seasoning to them?
Put some seasoning on them, some peppers, a few different seasoning. Let them just cook and bake in their own juices.
So they came out from the oven looking like this. You put them on the barbecue grill, and you're putting a sauce on it, which is a secret sauce that you have up here.
Uh-huh.
And for those folks at home who would like to make barbecued ribs just like this, country-style barbecued ribs, here's a recipe that'll work for you.
The sights and sounds of a dude ranch are always punctuated by a crackling fire during sunset. Go online to northwestoutdoors.org to learn more about this episode 1504. On the next Northwest Outdoors, head to Farewell Harbor Resort in British Columbia to fly fish for native cutthroat trout and dolly varden.
Got another one of those beautiful cutthroats on. I had seen this one rise about twice straight across from me, and we got the third cast into it. Oh, he's got great color, just absolutely spectacular color. Now, let's see if I can get him over here.
Funding for Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon, makers of precision tools and cutlery. Kershaw Knives strongly supports outdoor programming as well as responsible outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. And by Subaru, engineered and designed for all types of activities in the great outdoors. Subaru believes that enjoyment of the Pacific Northwest should be available to everyone. The growth of the Pacific Northwest the past few years and the increased demand for electricity is important to all of us. We at Energy Northwest are doing our best to support this demand by producing safe, reliable electrical power today and for our future. And by alltrek.com. Alltrek provides high-performance clothing and gear for every outdoor experience, including paddling, camping, hiking, climbing, and more. Information can be found online at alltrek.com.